Good morning Year 3, welcome to your maths video for Monday the 1st of March. So this is a video for you if you've got the Year 3 maths booklet. So today we're going to be completing pages 52 and 53 in our booklets, focusing on statistics, looking at tables and bar charts, okay? So you may have done some of this before, maybe in Year 1 or Year 2, okay? Now before we get on to that, we're going to warm ourselves up ready for our learning, have a look at our question types and our learning question. But before I start our warm up, I just want to give a big shout out to Millie and Isabel. Your work last week, girls, was just fantastic. Seeing you working really hard, we're very impressed with you both, okay? So let's start with our warm up for today. So our warm-up today, you're going to be grouping, and I know we've done this before in science, so we're quite good at grouping. So I have got a street of houses here. You can see I've got 9 houses, and I want you to sort the street out. How many different ways can you sort these houses into groups, okay? So what I mean by that is we can group these houses by their features. So if I give you one example, and then you can carry on, I can see here, I could split them into 2 groups because I could have one group of grey roofs of the houses and one group of orange roofs of the houses, okay? So I could split them into 2 groups that way. So look at the features of my houses. What have they got in common? How could you group them together? How many different ways can you sort them into groups? So you might have one way of grouping them by the colour of roof, another way by the number of windows they have, and you can keep going from there. So I can't wait to see how many different ways you can group my houses. Have a go in your purple book or on your whiteboard. Right, so you should have just completed my warm-up challenge of grouping the houses in different ways. So let's have a look at our learning question for today. It says, can I interpret and present data using tables and bar charts? Okay, so let's break that learning question down. So interpret, that means just understand what we've been given. And when we're presenting something, that means we're showing it, okay? We can present data, that's information, in a table or a bar chart. That's just 2 of the ways that we're looking at today, okay? Now, data then. So I've just mentioned data. It's a funny word, but it just means information, okay? Now, it's a collection of facts such as numbers, words and measurements. And we can handle that data and handle that information by recording and gathering it and presenting it in different ways, such as in pictograms, tables, bar charts or in tallies. So we're going to look at 2 of the ways of recording, gathering and presenting data today. So 2 ways that we're going to focus on are in tables and bar charts. Now on page 52 you'll see you've got tables as your title. That's just one way of presenting data. We can do it in a table or a tally chart, and I know lots of you will have heard of tally charts and used them before. Let's have a look then at a table and a tally. So in this table I've got columns and I've got rows, and at the top of my table I have got titles for the columns. So under this title, these are all the players in this rugby tournament, okay? So I've got 6 nations, the top point scorers in this tournament, and the 6 nations is rugby. So I've got lots of rugby players listed here under the player title. Under the country title, these are all the different countries these players play for. And then I've got a points title telling me how many points each of these players has scored. Okay, so I've gathered information, gathered data and recorded it in a table and presented it like this. Now then I can interpret the data really easy using this table. So for example, if I wanted to know how many points Owen Farrell has scored in this rugby tournament, I could follow it across from Owen Farrell's name. Oh, he's scored 54 points, okay? I can also find out that he played for England in that tournament. Right, another way then that you've got on your first page of work today of presenting data and recording it is in a tally chart. And you can see here Someone has taken part in an insect scavenger hunt. That means they've gone and searched for different insects, maybe in a wood. And the insects they found, they've got a ladybug, an ant, a butterfly, or a mosquito. Okay? Now you can see here, on this part we've got a tally. And this is one way of representing numbers. And then we've got the total. So that's the total amount of that certain insect that was found. So I can see here 6 ladybugs were found. Okay? So let's have a look at how we can represent numbers in a tally chart. Now I know lots of you will probably already know how to do this, but we can have a quick recap. So if I was representing, that means we're showing the number 1 in a tally chart, we just draw 1 line. And then for 2, that's 2 lines. 3 then, how many lines do you think we draw for the 3? 3 lines, okay? And then 4, that's 4 lines. But when we want to represent 5 on a tally chart, if you have a look at this, we draw our 4 lines, and then we put a diagonal line through it. We strike through the 4 we've just drawn. And it looks to me a bit like a farmyard gate. And that's helping us to group the 5s in a tally chart. So if you can see here, on the ant one, I can see, it looks like they've got 2 gates there. And we know 4 lines with a strike through, a diagonal line through the middle, that's worth 5, so I can easily count the 5s and group them. 5, 10, and then I've got 11, 12, 13, so it can help us to count. And the total for that column, the frequency, how often an ant was found was 13 times. 13 ants were found on that scavenger hunt, okay? So let's have a look then at some similar questions that you've got on your page 52 today. So I've got here, use the counters to complete the tally chart. Now I'm going to take my time to have a look at this tally chart, look at the titles and what we've got, already information that we've got there, okay? So I've got colour, so that's the colour of the counter, tally, so I'm going to be representing numbers, drawing a tally chart, and then the frequency, that's just the numbers, how often we're seeing the red counters, the blue and the green, okay? So first of all, I'm going to count the red counters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got 6, so I'm going to record that in my tally. 1, 2, 3, 4. For 5, like a gate, we put a line through, so that's 5, 6. And using that tally, I can see 6 red counters are here, so I can record the number 6 for how often that counter appeared. Blue then, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 blues, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and write the number 4 there. Green, I can just see by looking at it, I've got 4 green left over, 1, 2, 3, 4, record the number 4 there for frequency. Now, when you've completed your first tally chart, you may notice you'll be asked a question. This is where you need to interpret the data that you have put in and recorded on this tally chart, okay, and this table. So how many more red counters are there than green, okay? So I can go and interpret the data. I can see that there's 6 red counters. I can understand and interpret the 6. There's only 4 greens. What's the difference between those 2 numbers? How many more red counters are there than green? 4, 5, 6. There's 2 more, okay? So that's just one similar question to the question that you've got on your page 52 for today. So another similar question, I've got here, Tilly counted everybody's favourite pets in her class. Complete the table. So we've got a table here that's got part of a tally in it, where it's been uncompleted, but we can use the data, the information that we've been given to help us complete it. So I've got the pets down the side, a cat, dog and a rabbit, and then I've got the tally at the top and then the frequency, so how many there were, okay? So for the tally of the cat, it is blank, but I know that there was 7 because the frequency box tells me that. So I'm going to represent that on the tally. So 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put a cross through it for your gate, 6, 7, okay? Now dog, I've got the frequency number missing, so I need to use the tally that I've been given to help me, so I'm going to count that up. Now I can see just by looking at that, I've got 2 5s there. You can see those gates have been grouped, so that equals 10. And then my rabbit tally is blank. I've got 12 on the frequency box in the column there. So I'm going to represent 12 on the tally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay? So 2 5s and 2 1s there on the tally to make 12. So, one last question that you have on your page 52 for today is question 3, and it's getting you to construct a tally. That means you're going to make the tally chart. So we've got Rachel, who's recording the colours of cars that pass by her school. Here are her results. So you've been given on your page all of her results, and she just wrote them down for you. And if you have a look, there's 3 colours there that keep reappearing again and again. We've got blue, red and silver, okay? And you've been given a blank table to construct and create that tally chart in. So the first thing you're going to need to do is come up with titles. So I would suggest that at the top of this title here, we need the colour of car. So I'm going to write colour there. You might want to write colour of car, because I'm going to write the colours there, red, blue and silver. Red, blue and silver. For this title then, what are we constructing here? We're constructing a tally chart, so I'm going to write tally, because that's where you're going to represent the number of the different colour cars, okay? So I'd like you to have a go at that. You can tick off the colours as you go, so you're not getting confused between them. So I want you to pause the video now and have a go at completing page 52 in your booklets. Right, so you should have just completed page 52 in your maths booklets. So we're now going to look at page 53 and focus on some similar questions to the ones that you've got in your booklet today. So on page 53, we're going to be looking at bar charts. Now, a bar chart is another way that we can record and present data, the information. So you can see here, this bar chart is about the number of ice creams that were sold in 1 week. So we've got a title, okay? Now it's called a bar chart because you can see these bars with the data in, the information going up vertically on this bar chart, okay? Now every bar chart has something that's called an axis. And on the axes that looks like this, you can see those the blue and the red line there. We have a y-axis that goes vertically up. So you think of a y, we can close it and it's heading straight up to the top. There it is, the y-axis. And then we also have an x-axis that goes straight across horizontally, because with an x, we can close it and you can see my horizontal line there, okay? Now, our axes on a bar chart are always labelled to help us interpret the data, that means understand it. So, along my y-axis, I've got numbers going all the way up, and this is the number of ice creams that were sold. Along the x-axis, going horizontally, I've got the days of the week, okay? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and so on. So I can use these axes, the y and the x-axis, to interpret and get some data from this bar chart. So if I wanted to know how many ice creams were sold on a Tuesday, I could go along the x-axis to find Tuesday, follow the bar up, oh, the bar stops there, so I can go along, to the number 5. So 5 ice creams were sold on a Tuesday that week, okay? Now on your page today, you'll also notice you've not just got a bar chart that's going vertically up, you've also got a bar chart that goes horizontally across. But you'll see that even if a bar chart goes horizontally, so the bars are going horizontally across it, we've still got our y axes going up and our x-axis going across, okay? So, let's start by having a look at some of the questions on page 53 today that are very similar to yours. So I've got here the favourite colours of pupils, and I've been given this table of information, okay? So that's how it's been presented to me here. So I've got all the colours down here and the number of pupils that like that colour. Now from this table of information, I can create a bar chart. And you'll notice my bar chart has got missing bars. So I need to use the table that I've been given with all that information, that data in, to help me fill out and finish this bar chart. So if I have a look at the axes, I've got the y-axis of the number of pupils at the side, and I've got the x-axis going across with all the different colours. Red and orange has been done, so I'm going to look at yellow. Now yellow, 5 pupils said yellow was their favourite colour. So I'm going to get my ruler, so you can get your ruler as well for this type of question in your booklet to help you complete your bar chart at home. Now yellow was 5, so I'm going to draw my line very carefully, going all the way up to number 5, and I can see it there, look, on the y-axis going up. I'm going to go across, and I'm going to go, my ruler just moved there. I'm going to go across on that line using the lines I've been given. And I'm going to go back down and create a bar for the yellow. So I can see there that 5 pupils said yellow was their favourite colour. So you would complete every bar that's got a missing bar using the data that you've been given in your table. Once you've done that, you'll notice you've got another question like this. What is the total number of pupils in that class? So this is one class. If we're finding the total, we know we need to add, okay? So you've already been given all the children that voted, so you'd need to add up all the numbers that you've been given on the table, or when you filled out your bar chart, you can take it from there, okay? So that's just one type of question. Another one, you will have a bar chart that's already been filled in with all the data ready for you. And this is where you're going to show us that you can interpret it and understand it, okay? So I've got a similar one to yours. Sarah records the number of ice creams she sold during 1 week. So we've just seen this bar chart, and Sarah's completed her bar chart and filled in all her data. But then we've got some questions to answer using the bar chart we've been given. So which day did she sell the most ice creams? So it was like, what's the most popular day that ice cream was bought on? So we know if we use the y-axis for numbers, the most ice creams we're going to have the tallest bar. Okay, now we can see only 2 were sold on Monday, 5 on a Tuesday, and if I find the biggest bar going vertically up, 12 was sold on a Saturday. So it was Saturday, the day that the most ice creams were sold on. So you need to really read and understand and interpret that bar chart you've been given. Another question I've got based on this. How many ice creams did Sarah sell on Friday? Remember to use your x-axis and your y-axis to help you. So on Friday, I'm going to go along the x-axis and I'm going to go up and across to the y-axis. She sold 7 ice creams, okay? So I'd like you to pause the video now and have a go at completing page 53 based on bar charts in your booklet. Right, so you should have just completed pages 52 and 53 in your maths booklets. But if you're wanting another challenge, don't fear, I've got my all-star challenge. Now remember, this is just an extra challenge that we can do if you're wanting to do some more maths. So I've got another bar chart here, and I want to know if you can make up, so you can write these on your whiteboard or in your purple book, can you make up 3 questions using this bar chart that we could ask someone else? So if I'm looking at this bar chart, I've got names of children here. So I've got Katie, Millie, Susan, Rachel and Velvet. And I've got how tall they are in centimetres, okay? And using the bar chart, I can see Katie is 120 centimetres tall. So what questions could you make up about this bar chart to ask someone so they can go and find out the information? You might ask, how tall is Susan? You might think about size. If it's smallest and tallest, who's the smallest, who's the tallest, okay? Is there anyone that's the same height? Okay, two children that are the same height. Think of all the different questions you could ask someone about this bar chart using that information, this data you've been given. I can't wait to see all of your maths work for today, Year 3. Take your time in reading your tables and your bar charts. Good luck, and I'll see you soon.